So, we're one of the first craft brewers in the United States. 1988 is when we got started. We make about 300 different beers a year. We always changing things up. Our flagship's Dead Guy Ale, which is a Maibach style ale, comes in 6.8% alcohol. Then we have Bat Squatch, which is our hazy IPA, which is our number 2 product right now. Then we have Hazelnut Brown, which is a brown ale with hazelnuts in it. Hazelnuts come from Oregon. It's a very Oregon-specific ingredient. And we do Honey Kolsch, which is a Kolsch with honey from our farm. And we do a couple other West Coast IPAs. And then our newest launch this year is called Dreamland American Lager, and it's in conjunction with Dreamland Skate Parks, who are building the practice facility for the Olympics. But we got with these guys because we were rebuilding the Newport Skate Park, which is our hometown, and we wanted to figure out a way to generate funds and give back to the community, and so we launched this beer, and so far it's been crushing. So we're out talking about that a lot too. It's more of our crushable, sessionable beer, compared to our other ones, which are a little higher octane. But then we also have 15 to 20 other beers that we keep year round, and then we have our spirits as well to go with that, complement that. We began with Jack Joyce, Jeff Schultz, Bob Woodell, and Rob Strasser as some friends out in Oregon. They worked for Nike, or they met through Nike, and microbrews at that point had just started taking off. And this is 1988, right? So there's less than 100 breweries in the nation at that point. And so we started in Ashland, Oregon, which is a small town right on the California-Oregon border. And then we moved to Newport, Oregon a couple years later, which is a town of 14,000. So, got to a much bigger town. And we've been based there ever since. And so Jack was one of our founders and ran the company for a very long time. Then his son took over, Brett Joyce, and then I took over from Brett at the beginning of this year, actually. One of the beautiful things is that we have 9 tap rooms and public houses, so we can actually share those beers in small batches with our consumers and our fans, and then that actually allows us to figure out which beers really resonate, which names resonate, things like that. So, but honestly, the reason why we do so many is because that's what we like to do. That's what brewers like to brew, and brewers really don't like brewing the same thing over and over and over. We have some of the best brewers in the whole world, both in Portland and down in Newport, and so they just create, and we just want to share what they create. We've got some new distribution definitely coming in with some of our new products. I think it's also interesting is that we are what we like to tell people is that we are the only people who are farmers, brewers, distillers, and coopers. So that means we grow our own hops and cucumbers and pumpkins and wormwood and mugwort and lots of interesting ingredients. We obviously brew, we obviously distill. We've been distilling for 16 years, and then we also are coopers, so we make our own barrels. So we can expect a lot more of the integration of those things: barrel-aged beers and spirits made with ingredients from the farm. So you'll definitely see a lot more interesting beers coming from us out in Oklahoma and Tulsa, but we'll also be out here with a lot more of our spirits as well. I love Tulsa. I think that you can definitely see it's a city that's been changing a lot recently. We're looking across the street at old brick buildings that were run down 10 years ago, and now they're housing some great art installations, great restaurants, great businesses, and I think that's something that's really great. Also, looking at your guys' beer scene here, you can compare Tulsa's beer scene to anywhere in the U.S. It's probably one of the more underrated scenes, honestly, just because of people don't necessarily think about Tulsa or don't think about Oklahoma as some of the great innovators in beer, but you got Prairie, you got American Solera, you got some fantastic people out here who are brewing. And I love talking to these guys. They're doing the same stuff that we are. We're exploring the same type of hops, or exploring the same type of yeast. It's just a brotherhood that crosses no matter where you are, whether you're in Portland, if you're in Newport, if you're in Oklahoma. It's one of those great things about beer and about brewing. It brings us all closer together.